what is the purpose of taking Delta 8 and what is the purpose of consuming edibles with Delta 8? One of the things I would always suggest people to understand the reasoning why you're choosing to consume an edible, understand that there is a complete difference from smoking weed, smoking a joint, ripping a bong, whatever, and taking an edible. When you smoke, you get an onset, meaning you're gonna get, an overall sensation and an overall feeling typically within 10, 15 minutes. With an edible, where people struggle and where I think people definitely overdo it is they'll wait around 60 minutes to 75 minutes and they may not feel anything. Then they consume even more, and now all of a sudden by like the 90-minute mark they're starting to feel something, and now they've taken way too much, have a terrible experience, and now all of a sudden they're like, I hate edibles, it was the worst experience of my life, I never want to do them again. A lot of our consumer base, I would say, is looking to have a good time. We're a fun brand, we want to have people have a good time, but the overall purpose really comes back to the individual, and for me, I think it's just more of a chill, relaxing, good experience.
No, on Facebook.
Oh, fuck, okay.
Wednesday night in the Room podcast. What's up, people? What is up? Ashley.
Hello.
Mike Casavant from Purrple Alien joining us for the first time. We'll get to talking to you all about what's going on with you, your history, and how you got into making people happy with edibles, my friend. But Tommy Shayhood, Wednesday night, as always, on the podcast, my guy.
How we doing?
I'm doing well, man. How's everything with you?
Very good. Always glad to be back here.
Dude, you're not broken up, man.
No, feeling good. Got some imaging done on my knee tomorrow. Fucking training. Red Sox last night. It means nothing.
Excellent. Where Red Sox win last night?
They did. It was went in a dramatic fashion, a little bit back and forth. It was a nice one.
Nice.
The clouds parted, and we were able to make it in there.
Not like the goddamn Bruins that fucking, took my heart out.
No, yeah,
for
that's
fucking
tough.
3 games in a row.
And the Celtics too. The Celtics had a bad one on Tuesday.
They're playing tonight, though.
Yep. We're gonna have to check in on it.
Ashley, you had a jiu-jitsu tournament that you did very well in.
It was nice because it was actually a female of my body weight
Okay.
for the first time.
How was that?
great.
I saw
It was very
you had her in a close submission, and then
Yeah, I ended up getting.
you guys
a
went off the
submission.
mat, and then
Okay.
you sucked her right in, man.
I just kept throwing triangles, not by choice. I feel like I don't think, but that's okay. But it went well, and then I slammed a bunch of Five Guys, and then I did not move.
That's
for
like
a while. It
that's
was
like the
great.
celebration, Five Guys.
Yeah, every time. I think that was like my third competition, but after every single one, I've been just like going straight to Five Guys.
There
Excellent.
you go. And you felt confident. You felt good.
Yeah, it was really fun. I think that was probably the best, like how I felt conditioning wise so far, which was nice. And I also appreciated that there was somebody to actually grapple with, because that's been kind of difficult for some reason lately.
Yeah, well, you're scary. They look at your Instagram like, fuck no.
Truth.
She's gonna friggin' bench me, fucking,
Because they do. If they get the name, if they're able to get the names first, they'll look up your social media.
everything.
And scoops.
No
If they know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, them tournaments are kind of like a crapshoot. Like, they don't know anything.
No,
about
what was the tournament?
It was like a Naga meet
Excellent.
in
And what town?
Connecticut.
In
Middletown?
Connecticut. Cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
way out there.
It was a random place too, because we thought it was like a car dealership, but it was like behind a car dealership and like
Parking lot.
another almost like
Factory.
like some
You never know where
random
those things are going to
athletics
show
in
up.
Yeah,
Fucking. Well, let's get to Mike, my guy, man. What's up, brother? Did you
What's up, Mike?
originally live in New England?
Yeah, so I grew up in Newton.
Okay.
That's where I grew up.
Oh, that's a nice area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I lived there for most of my life, and then early 20s started touring. Actually, that's how Ash and I know each other from
Yeah.
Max, her brother, and then we started touring from like I don't know. I was on tour from like 22 to 27, give or take, and then yeah, I got off that, and then I kind of just moved around a bunch for a couple of years, and then decided that I guess Milwaukee was going to be the spot where I moved out to, and met my girlfriend, and kind of never looked back, I guess.
Well, you spoke about touring. So
Yeah.
Growing up a musician, would you play?
Yeah, so I play guitar, and it was always kind of like, that was the dream. I probably, like every kid has something, and I think I watched Dimebag from Pantera play for the first time, and basically shit my pants and was like, all right, this is something that I got to do, and I think.
That's how we roll around here.
Yeah, and then I think it was age 13, my dad got me a guitar for my birthday. And my mom was like, I can't believe you spent all this money. He's never going to play it. And 8 hours later, 5 years later, I played every day for 8 hours. Religiously.
Self-taught?
Yeah, self-taught. And then my senior year in high school, I knew music was my thing for a while, but coming into my senior year, I was really like, this is all I'm going to do. I need to get the fuck out of Massachusetts. I want to go on tour and start a band and shit. And I started taking these lessons from a classical guitar player that changed my entire life. Especially being a metalhead and I was so into heavy shit. By that point, he was like, well, that's cool, but let me show you these other styles of music that you can sort of absorb and do something with that with your style.
Some actual theory of it.
What's that?
Some actual theory of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And I was always into songwriting, and I could watch guys, some of my friends that were the most ridiculous players. They could tap and all this shit, and I was like, that's cool, but I want to write songs, And so that's where I remember meeting Max the first time and watched him play bass, and I was like, I don't care what the fuck I have to do. I need to get this kid in the band with me. And I just remember the first time I convinced him to come down and jam with me, we rewrote 3 songs that night, and he was like, "Whoa, this is fucking this is kind of cool." And then it was kind of love at first sight after that. And then I just had to keep convincing him every day, hey, let's get the fuck out of here and go on tour because your band sucks, and we should write a band.
So how long before you guys got together that you started touring together? What was that timeline?
So I met Max when I was 9. I think I was 19, just about 19, and then let's see, demo put out 20. We got signed when I was 22. So yeah, probably 2.5, 3 years after we met.
No shit. So you played locally in the Boston area and stuff that like that when you first started?
Yeah, man. We started playing out locally, and then I've always been very business minded and shit. So I kind of saw what was happening with us, and I was like, I don't want to play to our friends every fucking weekend with all our drunk asshole friends
and their girlfriends.
You know what I mean? And plus there was so many local bands. I remember they play Bill's Bar Friday night, fucking they were just playing every night, every weekend, and I was like, this is such an oversaturation. No one gives a shit. And so I remember actually Max and I talking about that, and I was like, dude, I want to book us everywhere where no one knows us, so we can actually earn fucking fans. That's the only way we're gonna do this thing. And so this is back in the heyday of MySpace. So I got we used to book shows on that. I would literally find the cutest girls and be like, hey, do you want promoters? That would be super sketch. And then, but honestly, we booked almost a month and a half tour through fucking MySpace at one point.
That was a good music thing on there.
Was that? Oh, it was huge. Yeah. It was.
I remember.
Actually, I miss the days of MySpace. Honestly, it was a really cool experience.
Music was huge on that, is what I remember. It was a good way to push your shit and get everyone seeing it.
Tom was really cool because he didn't really care what people said, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it wasn't like Zuckerberg here over here.
So that band that was touring, what was the name of that band?
That band was called Burn in Silence, and we got signed to Prosthetic Records, and then put out a record in what the fuck was it, July of 2006. You know, and it was like the best and worst times of my life with that project. You know, I always said to Max, I remember like we got signed, and then it was like a year and a half later, I think we broke up, or at least like it was a kind of a nightmare situation with our label. Like, you know, every band has that story. But
Yep.
It's kind of a shit show, but you know, it is what it is. Politics, I guess, if you look at, you know, at the time. But you know, it was, like I said, I mean, I look back at so many of those memories of like the greatest in so many regards, and still friends with a lot of those musicians today too, which is cool.
Yeah, you still play now as far as just for yourself? You pick up the guitar every so often and strum it, or are you done?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you know, I have like my acoustic and like my Les Paul and a couple other things set up. You know, it's like when I have time to do it, I definitely like I go back to being like 13 all over again and just fucking riffing. It's great, but I definitely time's definitely more challenging these days for sure. I mean, we have a lot of things going on the regular, so having more downtime, I have a hard time with it typically. I'm a workaholic, so kind of hurts sometimes.
Well, as far as now, Max is doing great things, correct?
Yeah.
Do you go see him and go, what the fuck, man? You know, look where you came from, and do you ever think back and go, man, I could be up on that stage, or is that not a passion that you know that's something in the past, and you don't think of it like that?
So the two answers to that. One, I'm talented. I always know I'm talented enough to be on the stage performing. There's no, like, I know that. And really for me, it's like, all right, if I sit in my room for the next week and I don't do anything else but play my guitar and prep for a show, I know within 7 days I'll be ready for it. Like, I know that. But, you know, the thing for me was after that band, I joined a band called the Acacia Strain for about a year and a half, 2 years. That was a really cool experience. But even then, I think I realized that like I love the preparation of like being in the studio, writing songs, orchestrating shit. Like that's one of my favorite places to be. And then touring was great, but it also sucks so much at the same time.
You always hear that.
And so, well, especially touring in a metal band. I mean, when you're just starting, it's fucking miserable. It's like, I mean, it's funny because Max's band now, Black Dahlia, like. I remember talking to those guys, like 2007, 2006, and they were like, "We didn't tour like that bad, dude. Like even in the beginning stages, they were like, you guys had it horrible." And you know, we had a really kind of rough go at it, but it was. But it also, you know, it's interesting because I look back at it though, and I think that was my earliest sort of start of entrepreneurial mindsets, and like, you know, I always, you know, it's weird. Like I always felt like I got along with everybody that we ever toured with, always had great experiences with it, but I always felt like different. Like I was always kind of like, well, I'm not just a band dude. I'm not just, you know what I mean? I don't want to just party all the time. Like I was always very like, always reading and shit, you know? And I don't know. And I always felt like probably disconnected, I think, to a lot of the stuff because I never really met people that were like thinking like me. I mean, Max always was, but just in that way. So I don't know. I think I kind of got to the point where it was sort of like, maybe this isn't the right, like the thing I worked so hard for all my life, I got, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm fulfilled with this, you know?
Well, I say, careful what you wish for.
Yeah, totally, dude.
Yeah. So from there, Ashley tells me that you, you know, a personal trainer, or you were into fitness, you were doing something along those lines. You might have owned a gym in the past. Like, were you always like kind of working out while you were touring? Like you were into fitness and stuff like that?
You know, it's funny, Matt, I actually have a really good story about this. So we were on tour with this band called Clifton from Utah. And it was our first night playing with them. We were in Wilmington, North Carolina at a venue called the Soapbox. And Max and I were like, this is like, dude, we had like sandbags. Like, again, we were so broke. So we had like sandbags and like cement blocks. And so we're like literally in this parking lot, fucking screaming, throwing shit around. And so so Donnie, I think he was the road manager or tour manager or guitar, whatever the fuck, for Clifton. I mean, after we became friends, he's like, dude, when we pulled up, like they were terrified to tour with us. They're like, oh man, these fucking dudes are from Boston. They're gonna like kick our ass. Like a bunch of emo kids from fucking Utah. And he's like, of course they pull in and they see us. Max and I are like fucking throwing like blocks around and shit. And I'm like slapping him in his face. And Donnie is like, I don't want to get out of the fucking van. I don't want to do this. These guys are gonna fucking eat us alive. And then of course we all became like the best of friends, and like, you know, it was awesome. But just that story of that. So Max and I were always doing like prison yard workouts on tour because we didn't have enough money to do anything, you know. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's interesting because I was a football player growing up and shit. I was athletic and stuff, but got into like powerlifting and strongman training and shit for, you know, a bunch of years, and that was great. And so I think like right after Acacia Strain, my last gig was 2010 in England, and I remember like seeing this band that was like in their 40s that played this festival that we played, and they were like still trying to do it, and you know, eating like SpaghettiOs out of a fucking can. And I just remember thinking like, I can't do this. Like this isn't like I knew the writing was on the wall for me at that point, because it was just like Acacia Strain was cool. It was a really great experience, but like I was just ready for something else. And at the time, I remember Brandon from Bleeding Through had started this thing called Rise Above Fitness. And I was like, you know, I should probably get into training. I feel like that's something I could probably really do good with. And then reached out to this gym, TPS, that I used to work at, and reached out to the owner. And then I was like, dude, I'm really interested in your internship program. So I went in, did the whole thing, and then was there for about a year or so. And then started a company called Iron Force Athletics, and had that for about 6.5 years, and had my gym and all that shit. So yeah, it was pretty rad. But that's actually honestly too where I started getting really savvy more online, because I started a secondary business for CrossFit athletes, men and women. It was more the masters division, and we ended up having almost like 1,000 or 2,000 people at one point around the world. Yeah, it was fucking crazy. Actually, Max built my own website too for that, and the logo. So. But yeah, that was wild. And, you know, and same thing, that was a really cool experience. And I kind of got to that point and I was like, wow, this is like, it was a great time, made a lot of great friends, trained a lot of awesome people, had a lot of clients go to the CrossFit Games, some won. I mean, it was fucking nuts. Nice. But yeah, and then same thing, I kind of like, I didn't want to write another like push-up article anymore. I was over. I was like, you know, it was like, same thing. It's almost like when you, I remember when I was a kid, I worked at Newberry Comics for like a winter or something. And it was like, I used to go there all the time to buy records and shit. And then I remember working there. I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like, and you're like, I don't need to get the fuck out of this. And it's funny because everyone used to always be like, oh, it must be so cool having a gym. I'm like, dude, I never even work out here. I go down the street to my buddy's gym because I didn't want to be in there.
I don't want to be there anymore.
Yeah. You'd never get anything done. People be all over you. You know what I mean?
You don't want to take your work home.
I have 1,000 questions right now.
And they have to be all answered at this moment.
Well,
While Mike is training.
That's kind of like when the electrician's house has all fucked up electricity at their house because they don't want to do it at home.
Yeah, exactly. You know, top of this house is falling down, and they fucking build a mansion and shit like that. Fuck, man. So, my man, so it looks, you know, it seems like anything you put your mind to, and then you start, you know, really going through the motions of it, you get good at it. But it seems like you get tired of it. As far as this, you know, the company with the gym and stuff, is that something you couldn't just hand it off someone and just been the leader and let them take it over? Did you end up selling all that? Like, how did you get out of that? Or are you still dabbling in that a little bit?
No, I don't really dabble in it. I mean, you know, it was a really cool situation because the owner of the facility, I mean, this place was like, oh God, I don't even remember. It was like almost 45,000 square feet or something. But we ended up having like about 3,000 square feet. And then after about, I don't know, 4 months of being there, we started like already growing so much. And so we ended up knocking down one wall, moving into this other area. And it was killer. And then I kind of had this idea to our landlord. And I was like, why don't we get more trainers in here that do different things? So it's like, We had a boot camp woman that did like some body burn boot camp shit. And we had like me focusing more so on strength, like really more so strength. That was our biggest thing. We had a boxing coach. Our friend Dave was a mixed martial arts coach, so he was in there a lot. We had like row teams and shit. We had a kind of a mix of a lot of different coaches. And I kind of realized that was actually kind of a cool business model, because every trainer that you meet typically is like, oh, I need to go do my own thing, right? But then what happens is the upfront cost is usually astronomical to go and do it. So they end up staying in a shitty place with a shitty position or a shitty job, whatever. So this is kind of more of like between 6 months to 18 months for people to transition into, you know, their own business model. So it was kind of like a great place for them to, you know, kind of grow, expand, and then eventually go off to do their own things. Some people stayed there for a couple of years actually after I left. But yeah, it was kind of one of those things. Once I was done with it, I was sort of like, cool, like, you know, I'm cool, and just kind of moved on.
Well, let's move on, bro. We're going to get to the edibles, where you're the main reason. We just wanted to get a backstory of you.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
Tommy
That's cool.
is a huge metal man.
Yep.
You know, he knew Ashley's brother's band right
Yep.
away.
Black Dahlia, of course.
He almost fell out of the chair when he found out when she said the name. He's like,
Yeah.
"Are you that Black Dahlia Murders is your brother?"
Fuck yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm
you
a
know,
grinder. You know?
in the past, I mean, I'm older than all you guys, but I was a drummer in the heavy metal bands all growing up, kind of in the form of like Megadeth, and then we
Thrashing.
yeah, thrash. We did a lot of originals, played a lot of like original bars and clubs, and it was sort of the same thing. We'd be playing, you know, around like, and the same people would show up, throwing up on the fucking, pissing in the corner.
Oh, yeah.
You know, wanting to get in for free. We had to pay the sound man to like do our sound and shit like that. Yeah. And then we started like, you know, going off into New York and play, and it was even worse then because no one knew us and we were treated kind of like shit at that point. You know what I mean? And then, you know, I started playing in like cover bands in there, and then, you know, life got in the way. You know, met a girl, had a baby, and then she's like, "You got to stop this. It's not gonna," you know. And I stopped it. But I actually started playing drums again and taking lessons about 8 or 9 months ago. I actually have an electronic kid in here. I'm down the line. I'm gonna get Max in here, and you know, and I'm gonna try to shred with him a little bit. And maybe Ashley can sing or something, or lift weights while we're doing that. I don't know.
I'll do both.
But she can play something. That I'll bring a tambourine or in or something.
A recorder, please.
But we're gonna get into edibles now. But before we do that, we have a couple of your packages here, and we're gonna show them. Tommy's gonna actually open. I think we opened it last week, and they popped it. Now, Mike, I haven't taken anything in over 10 weeks. Smoking, and I would smoke all day on breaks at work.
And I don't condone that.
Like,
I don't condone not doing it. You know,
Tommy knows. Like he heard my, you know, smoker's cough and shit like that. But when Ashley came in here and you know, we met you, you know, heard about you, we were checking out your website. I'm saying, you know, I've taken edibles in the past.
There it is.
You're gonna have, well, you can have a gummy or whatever. That might be.
Just like, give me.
But you know, I hooked up with you, and I don't want to smoke, but taking edibles, I mean, I love the feeling of being high and feeling that, you know what I mean. But I'm gonna take my first. Don't seal that because I am taking one. I am gonna take my first form of THC tonight. Yes. And I don't know if it probably won't hit me until after the show, but I'll definitely talk about it next week on our podcast. But let's talk about how you you know, got into your next you know, your next opportunity and got into edibles and all this. Sure. Here we go. First of all, here it is.
Cheers, cheers. It's so good. These peanut butter cups are fucking the bomb, by the way.
I'll throw the bag right there. Yeah. Oh, first of all, Mike.
Yeah.
You spoke about Max doing the website and stuff like that. Who does the artwork for the packaging?
So all the packaging designs, like conceptually, like I'll sit down and come up with like all these weird ideas, and then my business partner Kelly and I will sit down. I'll be like, all right, these are the names for the new ones. She'll be like, this one's great. These two are maybe not. So we go back to the drawing board. She's like the best balance for me because she'll always be like, whenever I think something's great or I'm like, oh, this is it, she'll be like, I don't know.
That's good.
And then it's like, but then she makes me like rethink something, and I'll be like, oh, maybe you're right. And then I'll sit down with it for another 20 minutes or whatever, and then come up with the idea. But yeah, so she found this guy named Brian Allen. You should check him out. And
Definitely.
he's worked with like Metallica and DC Comics and all these like, really big, prominent brands and companies and shit. And so as you guys can see, the artwork isn't necessarily like a normal brand packaging, right? We wanted to have a really visual aesthetic that pulls people into the world of what we're trying to create with Purrple Alien. And I think that kind of goes back to my music background. Like the only way I discovered music when I was a kid was by the artwork.
Hell yeah.
So that's the thing. That was my first visual to be like, oh, I'm going to buy this album because the fucking like Ride the Lightning. When I first saw that album, I was like, this is I'm buying right now. And like Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, it was like the artwork spoke to me. So that is why I bought it.
Old school Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah. What's that?
Old school Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Those ones are wild.
That's funny. I haven't like seen the new packaging yet, and I walked in and like before I knew what it was, I was like, "Oh, that looks like a metal band. That's really cool." And then I realized it was
It is definitely.
Oh, it's fucking awesome, man.
Totally metal.
There was when I showed it when we did that. When we had Sahib and we were or John Duma we had in.
Yep.
And I was showing the packaging off. People were like, "Holy shit!" Like it's just the packaging of it really sells it.
Yep.
It doesn't just look like a black bag and a logo on it. It's something that you really put your heart into.
Oh, dude, totally.
Suction.
And as you so basically, that was our whole point. Like I remember, we met with some branding agencies a couple of years prior that were like, $30,000. We're gonna make you guys like, whatever. And I remember them like. Just it was so basic in fucking like phoning it in to me. It's like because most brands will have one item and then change the colors of the same design, and then that's their differential, right? Yeah. For us, we were like, that's just bullshit. Like I was like, we want these packages to be like these like very cool visual art experiences, and then if we're looking at like album names and covers and shit, we're like, well, let's name our edibles something different and unique for each one we put out. And so, and we couldn't just go to some average artist either. So when we found Brian, we were like, holy shit, this dude can definitely take this world to a whole different level. And I remember the first time we started working with him, he was like, I gotta be honest, guys, you're the most difficult clients I've ever worked with. And the reason being is because we're so specific. So like, it could be, hey, Purrple Alien's arm, can you move it like a quarter inch down? And it's like little things like that because for us it's like recording a song. If the snare hits weird and I hear something, that's all I'm gonna hear for the rest of my fucking life. So we're redo it. So it's the same kind of concept. And the first round was a little iffy with Brian just because he was trying to feel us out and vice versa. But now that we've worked with him a couple more times, he is fucking amazing. So yeah, I'm glad you guys like the artwork. It's great.
It's definitely. So how long have you been doing this business? When did you guys get started?
Yeah.
And how did you come up with, hey, I'm gonna start making edibles and go in that route?
Sure. Okay, so prior to like the pandemic and lockdown and all that shit, the couple years prior, we had been working. Kelly and I had been working in the sweets and snacks space. We had a friend of ours that worked with like a lot of master chocolatiers and like all these like real gourmet gummy makers and shit, right? And so he was like, I was always really good with sales and stuff. So he was like, dude, you guys should just work with us on whatever and sell some of our products. We're like, yeah, sure, whatever. But we were more interested in like, CBD and cannabis and trying to figure out this merger of like really high quality gummies and kind of more gourmet and things of the sort, and then merging it with cannabis. And I kept saying to like some of these brands we were working with, I'm like, guys, like, there's this massive opportunity in the cannabis space for really high quality shit that tastes actually good that will get you fucking really high. And none of them wanted to touch it. And then we got asked to help this startup in Arizona called the Zuna. They're now defunct, thankfully, because they were a nightmare. But they had reached out to us through a mutual friend, and the owner, Gary, and I had like kind of connected. But that was like, he was like, dude, you guys have this crazy vision. You're really good with all these other areas that I'm not. Let's build this brand together. So that kind of got us into this like Wall Street-esque guy that was approaching an industry for the wrong reasons. And we spotted that pretty early on. And that lasted maybe 6 months to a year of working with him. And by the end of it, we were like, let's just do our own shit. Fuck this guy. He's a piece of shit. Let's go.
Yeah, that always sucks.
The thing is, by that point, we had all our farm partners already lined up. We had all these like, great people. And we're like, we're doing all this shit for these guys. Why don't we just do it for ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
And so then a couple of months before, I think it was towards the end of 19, this dude and I were talking, a friend of mine from Arizona, about like he went to an EDM show or something, and he was smoking a cigarette, and he said like all these people were staring at him and like kind of giving him the look of 1,000 deaths, and he was like, what the fuck, like I'm just smoking a hemp cigarette. And so he was like, I wish they had them visibly different so people knew right off the bat like I wasn't smoking a cigarette. And and I was like, oh yeah, you could wrap it in like a purple cone and call it a Purple Alien. And I said it, and I was like, that's fucking cool. Actually, I really like that name. And anyone that's like a big weed head knows that there's a strain called Purple Alien. But I just remember saying it, and I remember calling Kelly, and I was like, this is kind of a fucking sick name. I think we could do something with this. We sat in it for a few months. Lockdown happens. Nothing's going on, obviously. And she's like, we need to do Purple Alien. And I was like, I think you're right. And then I just went, down the rabbit hole, and we kind of built the whole thing. And then it was like, what are we going to make? And so we started out, right? And so we're like, all right, we have this concept, but what are we going to do with it? And then we kind of dove into pre-rolls for a while, and we were like, all right, wow. That started picking up a lot, actually.
Now, the pre-rolls, was that THC, CBD, or just strictly, what was that?
Yeah, so that was regular THC. It was actually a combo. I called it. Actually, Max actually designed this for us too, by the way, early on. But it was called the Tres Diablos, and it was like, I think it was it 3 grams? Fuck, I don't remember. But it was like CBD flower, a moon rock, and of THC, and it was unreal.
Give me it. Give me it.
What is a moon rock?
Oh my God, you need this in your life.
It's like a very sticky flower. I forget what the fuck is even the code.
So it's a bud dredged in oil, covered in keef.
That's what it is.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I've seen them. They're beautiful looking. They're like green ones.
Sticky.
It was like, and it's funny because we have a buddy of ours that deals out here, and he was like, man, I can't keep, like, you guys need to give me like 200 of these fucking things. And I was making them by hand, and I'm like, dude, it took me fucking forever to get 20 to you. Like,
moon rocks suck to make.
And so again, we had that for a bit, but we were like, the return on time wasn't there for us. So we were like, well, we should look into edibles then. Let's figure out that, because I have a cook background, and I've always kind of dabbled.
Of course he does. The guy's he was a pro golfer at one time. He probably designed the fucking a rocket ship. I don't know.
But there was so then we started kind of dabbling with different recipes and shit, and then we had a buddy of ours from Boston that he had been making edibles for a long time. So we basically did a Zoom call, and I was like, how do you do this shit, dude? Like, I was like, I understand like recipes and shit, but then when you start infusing, there's a whole mathematical science to the shit that like, and I was never a good student, so math student anyway. And
that's serious lab shit too.
We did this one sesh with him, and it was like, oh, okay, I think I get that. Our first time making edibles was atrocious. It was like a fucking nightmare. It was so bad. And it took us probably, 10 or so tries to really like get our groove with it. But yeah, man, I mean, it was one of those things we were kind of like, we knew our gummies, once we nailed those were going to be a really good seller for us, and they have been. They're definitely our number one seller for sure. And it was just like, but we knew kind of coming into it, we just wanted to make a product that without the infusion should be something that people want to eat, right? And so many of the edibles I've had in the past, it was like they just weren't palatable enough for me.
Yeah,
and I've always thought that, like, well, if you take the infusion out, is this something that you actually want to enjoy to eat? And not one edible I've ever had prior really was worthy of that title.
Can I interrupt you because that peanut butter cup was I want to eat the whole fucking bag right now.
I would eat
That's
those
how
without
fucking
weed.
good it was.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I ate it, I was like,
Yeah, that's like a cookie. It's like a cookie with a peanut butter cup in it.
It was like how Grandma used to make them.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
So Steve, that's exactly the reaction that we want. We basically want to be the bakery of the edible space, and you know, and like it's something that you would have like fresh out of the oven or as close to it. You know, because again, like that comes back to like as you guys see with the artwork, with the attention to detail, what we put into the edibles. It's like I don't like hype. I just like things to be like, look, like let it speak for its fucking self. Like you guys go try it. You come back and tell me. And I remember early on, this one guy was like, well, isn't Delta 8 like diet weed? He's like, it won't work for me. And I said, dude, listen, fucking buy it. And if this doesn't get you high, and Ash, he bought a cereal bar, the 1,000 milligram cereal.
Yes, he did.
He ate the whole thing.
So we make these fucking 1,000 milligram cereal bars.
I can chop them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a square, right? Like, you know, fucking 1,000?
That's 1,000. So now it's so funny, dude, because when we first released that, I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to buy these. But what we figured out, our buyers are either like
monsters,
15 to 30 milligrams or 100 to and 1,000. That's it. Like,
Tommy,
so
that's Tommy. Tommy's 100 to 1,000, man.
I'd take that 1,000.
But also, those are kind of those bars. I mean, if it's 1,000, you go to a party, you break that up. Everyone's fucking, you know, you know what I mean? It's like.
We had actually a girl last year. She ate the whole 1,000.
No.
Do you remember that, Ash?
No.
I was gonna say her name is Ashley.
Horrible thing to do.
And she's like this little petite, like I think she's like 4'9", 4'10". She's super small, right? And I'm like, oh my god. But I'm like, please don't eat the whole thing. And she's like, dude, I'm a G with this shit. I'm like, fuck. She ate the whole thing. She's on fucking Instagram Live, like playing, or she's on her Twitch channel playing video games.
Oh no!
I'm watching, like, we're gonna get sued. I'm like, she's gonna die. Like,
she's gonna keel over.
And she was like, "Whoa, man, this is really fucking killer." Like, what? She was high as hell, kept smoking weed on the same time. I'm like, what? I was in the morgue right now. I'm not doing it.
She wasn't a good spokesmodel for the product, I guess. She was like she was an alien herself, man.
This is fine.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Oh my god.
But no, man, she ate the whole fucking thing, and I was like, so what'd you think? And she was like, they taste fucking amazing. Yep. They got me super high, whatever. It was great. But yeah, there was a guy that I remember I sold one to, and I was like, look, if you don't get high off this, I will completely refund you. And he's like, really? I'm like, what? Yes. So he got it, and then he buys 4 bars from us every month now.
Nice.
Oh, fuck, man. He's Tommy.
Yeah.
He's fucking Tommy,
yeah, right.
man. God.
And that guy was me.
So Mike, all right, so I want to ask a little bit about the process, but before that, you're in Wisconsin, correct?
Yeah.
Do you supply like dispensaries, or how do you get the product out other than sending it to people that need it through your process? Do you have stores that you that stock it for you?
Yeah, so we literally just started selling about a little over a year ago to a place called Holistic Connections. It's located in a place called Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. It's a beautiful. Actually, it's kind of like, I always say, it's kind of like Cape Cod, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire all combined into one area. It's kind of it's pretty awesome.
Without the accent.
And so we've been selling at his store for a while now, and then he actually, I just met with him yesterday, and he was like, dude, you guys, like, you are our hands down our number one seller in the store. So he's actually now getting rid of products to keep, like, basically getting rid of less to have what we do.
Awesome.
And that's part of our whole strategy with going into retail, because right now we've been doing it, I guess if you want to call it under the radar. But we're fully, we have our attorneys and shit. We're not like a fucking, we're not amateurs at this. Mm-hmm. But, now our website's going to be live. I think it's going to be in about 2 weeks finally. Okay. So I'm really pumped about that. But, even with the retail sector, coming back to when I mentioned earlier about the band, like, I never wanted to oversaturate markets, right? So the same thing, we're taking the same approach with Purrple Alien. We're like, hey, if we're selling in fucking Rhode Island, somewhere in Rhode Island, we're not going to sell in a vicinity from around there and no one else, because I want that store to be special enough to know that, like, well, fuck, like, here's the thing. If you own a dispensary and I say, look, we're going to go exclusive with you guys in this area, we won't sell to anyone else, like, within a certain mile radius, you're going to push our product a lot more, right? Because now there's more incentive for you to be, well, shit, like, you can't get this anywhere else but right at the store.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with Holistic Connections too. Like, there was other stores around there that wanted us to go in there. We told them no. And they kept, I mean, honestly, we tell people no, like, weekly that want us to go in their stores. We're like, nah, man, either there has to be the right fit, or, you know, we just want to make sure that it's aligned with who, you know, we are as a brand and what they sell currently. And if we feel like their audience would be a good fit. So we're particular about the retail sector, but we do everything, honestly, right now, direct to consumers. So that's been kind of our sweet spot.
So as far as the process and, I mean, I don't know what goes into edibles where you get, but do I would imagine you have an outside source that gives you the THC or the product that you infuse in these things, right?
Yep.
Good question.
Yeah, totally.
Now, as far as, you know, baking and do you solely do that in yourself, or do you have other employees that kind of, you know, you took under your wing and processing this for you?
Yeah, so we basically have myself and Kelly, and then we have about 4 other people that we're going to be bringing on this summer. And, you know, and that's been really exciting for us because we bootstrapped everything. We've turned down fucking investors that want to invest in us. And, you know, we did it. Put it this way, we took a slower approach. I think last year would probably been a more ideal time to really go guns blazing, but I'm also okay with it because we took a little bit longer to kind of get some bearings in place. Also build up enough, you know, street cred, if you will, with this industry. And, you know, we're not a fly by night, you know, brand at all. And it's something that we believe in that, you know, can kind of surpass a lot of things. And, you know, it's funny because for most of my life, I've always felt like I was ready for the next thing. And then when we started doing this, there's so many things that we can build around it that encompass it that I'm the most creatively fulfilled I've ever been. So it's like, you know, I wake up every day ready to fucking kill the world in the best way.
Well, as far as the products, my God, I'm going to go to your Instagram in a little while as we talk, but, you know, I know you're full of ideas. I mean, they just flow out of you. I mean, you have, a ton of products that you infuse. Man, who comes up with the kind of ideas, and who tests this stuff? Because you said in the beginning, you guys, it took you like 20 tries to like get it right. Who's trying this shit?
Where can I apply?
Yeah. How do we get it? How do we get on the board of fucking testers?
Yeah.
No, I'll put you guys on our list. So basically, I told you this before. Like, whenever we have like new products, we have like a list of like 20 to 30 people that we're like, okay, we know we're gonna send all of them samples and like get everyone's feedback, because it's like that's the beautiful thing right now, because we have enough, you know, users that we know. Okay, we know like what this one handles, what they buy, and like, so if we're doing something maybe higher potency, we have like our 15 people that are like, all right, yeah, these guys, great test subjects. They understand the products and all that shit.
So give us feedback.
So, yeah, we'll add you guys to that list, no problem. I promise.
Yes.
Yeah,
Love
we'll take them every fucking podcast, and we'll chime in the next podcast while we're taking the next one.
An
Hey,
hour
well, that
before.
was fucking incredible.
We'll check in on Instagram Live at like 3 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll do a fucking podcast from my bedroom. I'm looking at spiders crawling on the wall.
But to your question, so what happens is we go through this rigorous process, and everything that we do is pretty rigorous. But the process is basically, Kelly and I are exceptional at finding raw ingredients and figuring out the best raw ingredients to make an item with. So like if we're working on, like when we started working on the marshmallows, it was like, okay, what types of chocolates do we really want to look at? And we found a chocolate supplier. We went through 50, I think it was 52 or 47 different chocolates to taste. And it was like, I don't like this, or the nodes or whatever. So we kind of go through this whole process. Once we figure out the right ingredients that we want to work with, then we figure out the ratios of, like, you know, the volume ratio of, you know, marshmallow to chocolate to whatever. Once we get everything that's not infused exactly where we need it, then we infuse them, and then that's when we get to start readjusting shit. Because what you discover in edible making is that the science to it is really like this. There's a ratio, a component where you have to really understand that like the moment you start to infuse something, it changes the palate, obviously, but it also changes how like the marshmallow may sit or how the texture changes. So things might be like harder now all of a sudden than it should be. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck? So that can be kind of a pain in the ass. Plus, again, you know, you have to watch how much you eat because you're going to get fucking lit. So
that's why you need to have the non-infused ones
just
for
like
later.
I said, Tommy wanted to eat the whole bag of this 100 milligrams a piece.
Well, that's why, like,
He's
if you
like,
get
"I can take
if you
this."
get
I'm
like
like-
infused pizzas, right? You get the non-infused ones, so you eat the fused ones, and then you go and eat the regular ones, so you don't eat the whole infused one. You
So
know?
a question, Mike. I'm looking at your Instagram right now. Who does all your social media? I mean, some of this stuff's really, really fucking incredible. The way you sell your product.
Cool videos.
Oh, you do it all.
Nice.
I mean, you incorporate like fucking some really cool shit into your Instagram and shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, we try to have fun with it. It's like it's always trying to find a happy balance, and like, you know, we've been shadow banned for like 8 months, I think.
Of course.
Ridiculous. Like, dude, I mean, Ash, we talk about this all the time. Like, I was just on my personal page, and there's like this girl, and she's literally basically ass naked, and I'm like,
Oh no.
How are we getting?
No,
banned
that's
with
fine
Mark?
because her ass is out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, you just need to take
That's
your
all
shirt
they
off.
want. Yeah, take your clothes off.
I know. I'm like, well, Jesus, if it's that, I'll just put a thong on and fucking start.
Hey,
Yeah.
dude, that's next. I mean, you put the thong on, run around with it.
That'll be the next cover. You know what I mean?
So-
Alien in a thong.
I mean, I'm a big social media guy, and I love fucking like creating shit and stuff.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I mean, some of that stuff that I mean, I was on your Instagram for like hours just checking out the
awesome.
shit, my guy. And
That's cool.
and now you have the website. You said coming out in a couple of weeks, correct?
Yeah, and that's partly why we didn't really get the chance to launch last year. We just had, and it's crazy. Like we had for whatever reason, we ran into all these issues
Go
with
for a
like
gummy.
web developers, and it was just a fucking
Taking another one,
nightmare.
or
Just a gummy.
oh, good.
Nice.
Tommy's going for 50 milligrams this show right
Hell
now.
yeah, dude. Oh, that's awesome.
For breakfast.
But yeah, man, we went through this whole process trying to find the right developers and shit. Because again, like, you know, as much detail as you put into all of our stuff, it's the same thing. It's like we can't just have everything we do has to be a little bit more thought to it because, you know, there's a lot of thought that goes into everything that we do, and we don't want it to just be like a normal like. There's nothing normal about the brand, really, right? So, and we just couldn't find like developers that really could see the vision through. And then, of course, yeah.
My wife
That's
just chimed in and said, "Let me get that
that's
1,000."
wackadoodle I love. Those
Yeah, Tommy's wife is messaging him right now saying, "Get the fucking address. I
Yeah,
need some
yeah.
of that shit."
We're gonna, Mike. Yep, we will be talking.
I fucking love that. But the fuck, what the hell was I just saying?
No, sorry.
I fucking forgot. I think my thing's kicking in right now. So I'm
Oh, the
fucking.
website, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, long story short, we have we had just ran into a bunch of issues with it. So then, you know, like Kelly's notorious for being like, let's just do it. Like, let's just put it in our own hands and try to bet on ourselves and let's just fucking do it ourselves. So she like literally designed the whole front facing of the site. I'm not good with that. So I'm more like functional. Like, all right, I'm on mobile. I'm like, all right, this is too far of a reach. We need to do this instead of that. Like, I'm really good with the functionality of things, where she's better on desktop and front facing shit. So she designed the whole thing. We have a guy that's like a coder, so now he's fucking putting it all together, and he's kind of an asshole too. So we're like,
Yeah,
shit.
you all work
You know?
together great then.
Yeah, so he's a little
Coders
bit
usually
nightmare,
are.
but We're just like, let's get this fucking thing done, get it up, and let's start marketing the shit out of this, and just start throwing gasoline on the fire.
So as far as the website, Mike, what is? I mean, are you going to be able to order from? Like, how? What is the website going to be? Like a social media to show the product and all that, but people can actually go to it and order it and stuff.
Yeah.
Order from there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's about, we're legally able to ship to, I think right now it's about 32 or 34 states, something like that.
No shit. Fucking
yeah,
nice.
Which is great.
It's beautiful.
We, you know, right now it's funny. We don't really have a strong Wisconsin base outside of Lake Geneva, but We have a huge following in like New Orleans, Florida's picked up a ton.
In Wisconsin, you need those infused cheese curds.
Yeah, fucking infused cheese curls.
Right.
Well, funny thing, Mike's,
Delicious.
you know, on Instagram, I mean, on Facebook and my social media, I cook a lot when I'm home and stuff like that. You were like, hey, that's some of that stuff you should infuse. Can you actually infuse like meatballs and shit like that?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Fuck yeah.
So the biggest thing with infusions is that you need to have a fat soluble that it binds to in order to do an infusion. Then it just comes back to, all right, well, if you make a big fucking meatloaf, you need to figure out the ratio of like, all right, well, how many is this going to serve? Okay, if each piece is 4 ounces and you want it to be, 50 milligrams, then you need X amount. So you have to do that whole fucking thing.
I'm having a fucking meatball party one of these fucking days, my guy.
Yo.
My meatballs are outstanding. I'm gonna send you some meatballs. You can fucking infuse them.
I'm upset.
An Italian from Rhode
I'm
Island.
gonna send you some Italian meatballs that I made, and I'll freeze them and send them to you, fucking express mail.
Buddy Cianci approved.
Actually, you have to infuse them when they're raw, right, and then cook them, right?
Yeah. With that, you probably infuse.
Yeah.
Depending on, I'm trying to think. What do you put? You put butter in them at all?
No, well, egg and some oil and stuff like that. I can put oil in it.
Maybe
though,
like some
you know
of the
what I mean?
sauce or something, like tomato sauce
Well,
out there.
yeah, it cooks in the sauce. I can add it to the. Can you add it to the sauce?
The sauce might be challenged unless you weigh it up. See,
this is so beyond
It's funny
me.
because even with the
Mike doesn't want me to OD on fucking meatballs.
Good thing you
it's
can't.
funny, even with the marshmallows. So like we that's what initially when we were again, this is early on in the process, but when we would dip the marshmallow, we would think that it was going to be 100 milligrams, but it's not accounting for the drip. So when you pull it up, it's dripping. Now you're losing all the.
Yeah.
So actually, that's something I want to tell you guys too. I'm not sure if you noticed this, but inside of the marshmallow, there's a little chocolate piece.
Yeah,
and that's
there
actually
is.
what's infused.
Okay.
We had someone message me that was like, "Hey man, can I didn't want to say anything, but like I didn't get high off that marshmallow." I'm like, "Wait, what? How?" I'm like, "Get 100 milligrams." They took a bite at the bottom of it, but never actually got the piece of the chocolate.
So all right. So you have to eat the.
Could eat the whole thing.
That was my
So, wait a
favorite
minute.
part. I was like, oh my god, there's chocolate
So
inside.
you can actually like take the chocolate out and cut it in half and stuff like that if you don't
Totally,
if you
dude.
can't handle like 100 milligrams,
Okay.
correct?
100%. And like as
Good to
Ash
know.
will tell you, I mean the 100. It's funny because like so our stuff in terms of the lab that we get our Delta 8 from.
That's them right there.
It's really fucking potent. It's strong. So all of our test results usually come back and test around like 94 to 95% potency, which a lot of the Delta 8 that we find in the market now test are anywhere from like 89 to 91. So we kind of are a little bit higher, and we always try to walk the line a little bit so that we kind of risk testing positive for too much THC, but we found a way to work around it, so it's good.
So Mike, all right. So you're edible only. Are you gonna? Is that the lane you're gonna stay? Can you dabble into CBD infused, or is that just not a market kind of?
It's well, fortunately, we can do everything. We can do anything as far as the cannabis space. Well, we had a CBD product. It was actually called a CBG, which is really good for inflammation. It's kind of similar to CBD. But we had this little CBG product for a while, and it was incredible. It was a really good product. This is before we started Purrple Alien, but no one would buy it.
Yeah.
No one like I gave it out to people. I'm like, well, what do you think? Oh, it's cool. I'm like, all right. And then one of my buddies, is unfortunately locked up right now, was like, he goes, dude, people just want to get fucking high, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest. They want to get fucking high. They want to get high, forget their life, and fucking get high. So he's like, sell them something that gets them to get them high. And I was like, I think you're right. And then around that same week, I remember reading this article, and it was like Delta 8's this new craze, or like said something about it. And I was like, this sounds interesting. So we ended up getting some samples, and I was like, holy shit. And Kel and I talked about it, and I was like, this is it. We need to fucking go all in with this, and we just never looked back. But in terms of like CBD products and stuff, we can pretty much dabble with it with whatever. We definitely are going to stay in the lanes of like doing more. Like, we're not a health brand. We're definitely not that, but we want to do stuff that's going to get people lit for sure. We're actually working on a beverage right now.
Oh, here we go. Nice.
Dude, those samples will come for sure.
Yes.
I tested it. We had a lemonade that we tried. It's about 75% there. It's pretty cool. And there's a soda that's like Mountain Dew and Baja Blast.
Let me ask you a question. Can you mix that with like alcohol or would that dilute or ruin the THC content?
So Delta 8 specifically with booze, you're gonna have a bit of a negative to it for whatever reason. That combo cannot. It's weird because like. I mean, we have some customers that, they're all about it. They'll have, a couple glasses of wine, pop a gummy, and like it's girls' night, and they fucking go rage and they have a blast. But like, but historically, mixing the two is not necessarily like the greatest thing, but it's also, everyone's adults, and if that's what you would choose, then go for it. But I always tell people the first time trying it, if you can avoid having booze or anything, you might be okay.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Mike, I've had 2.5 beers and I ate one of those things a half hour ago. I feel I feel better than I felt in 10 weeks.
Yeah. I just saw the stress in Steve's eyes.
I'm actually like my eyes again. Well, I'm laughing, right? I haven't fucking laughed like this on my fucking podcast in 10 weeks.
That vein in your forehead went away.
Yeah, they come out right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking pressure, man. All right, so I totally know that you love to put your love into the product. Like eating one of those, I wanted to eat all of them. And you talked about making a liquid and a drink about it. Are you ever you got them other high class people that might want a fucking spaghetti dinner infused delivery to them? Is that something that could be in the future, making like an actual food with it infused?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Man, the cool thing with that is like, it's funny because we have a lot of like, God, we have some buyers of ours that are like, multi-millionaires, and like they're like the coolest motherfuckers on the planet, right? And they're always hitting me up like, yo, dude, I said my boys are coming in town, like, can you get me out, 4x the regular order? I'm like, yeah, no problem. But what's interesting is like doing something like that, having like a dinner or more of like a private sort of event, whatever, and infusing stuff. I mean, there's, we've already looked at things even locally that we want to do with like a private party with, infusing drinks or whatever, have that as a main thing. But basically with that, you need to do them so they're non-alcoholic, because it's just, there's a legality if you go to a restaurant, even if it's a private situation. So there's that. But then as far as the food, oh yeah, man. I mean, we could totally, anything baking wise, for sure. Like that's like our sweet spot, most definitely.
Like a TV dinner, a gourmet TV dinner, fucking for like movie night.
Like would you have shepherd's pie that you posted?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But something like that, again, it just comes back to, all right, what's the portion size that this one tray's gonna make? Then we need to figure that out. But I mean, Kelly's the one that will go, this is how much we need to pull. Okay, great. And then she'll tell me all the numbers and shit. But yeah, it's like we could do any of that stuff we could do for sure.
Excellent, my man. So my man, you talked about having million dollar customers and stuff like that. Yeah. Alex and like bands and stuff. Are they big on edibles? Like who's big on edibles nowadays? Because it's been all about smoking weed, and because all the dispensaries out there, they can go right there, grab a blunt or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Who is the biggest buyers of edibles, and who do you kind of focus on, because that's where your revenue is mostly coming from?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting, man, because we have a pretty eclectic audience. We have did I send you a T-shirt?
Yes.
Actually. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's over there. I'll grab it in the corner. I actually wore it on one of my interviews, but
oh, nice.
It's a little big for me, so it kind of hung down a little.
Yeah, exactly. What was it? What are you, a large?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's all we had in
soaking
stock.
wet.
Yeah, that's all right though. I'm gonna put this one on my wall.
Yeah, dude, do it. But yeah, so we started we have a clothing line called the Mad Jekyll, which has Purrple Alien and his friend Tipsy the Green Cat. And we kind of started building out these like all these sort of hybrid worlds, if you will, in cartoon kind of shit. And what we found was a lot of people in the hip hop space started hitting us up like, yo, man, that fucking hoodie's crazy. Like, I love this.
Yep.
So we kind of realized that we were like, wow, like the merch is definitely like 85-90% male.
That's cool.
For sure. and all of them are either like in recurrent rappers or managers of rappers, producers of rappers, fucking like,
so funny.
anything of the sort. And so, which is really interesting and actually awesome. So, but then with Purrple Alien and edibles, what we found, it's like, it's interesting because we have a good female to male ratio for sure. But then there's also like our audience, I feel like they're kind of like a little bit more mature. Well, I mean, I'm not fucking mature at all.
So you're talking to the wrong crew right there.
Like the 34, 35 plus crowd seems to be like kind of, a little bit more further along in their careers, or we have some mid 40s, like late 40s people that are parents, right? And they're like, yo, I need fucking the strongest shit. The kids are away for the weekend.
Yeah.
We're gonna turn up.
Kids are away. Forget that.
Yeah.
That's the best way that I parent.
Well, I would see a lot. I would imagine there's smoking's not the healthiest thing on the planet, even though you want to get high and shit. Sure. I could see a lot of people that kind of shy away from smoking, who smoked a lot, like me.
Yeah.
In their early days, that maybe jumping on the the edible train.
Yeah. I mean, what we found too, and trust me, we poll a lot of our audience and just ask questions and get feedback and all that stuff. And a lot of the people were just like, man, I smoked for my whole life. Or people still I do too. I still smoke. But it's like,
too.
What I found is a lot of our audience like got to a point where they're like, they just didn't want to smell like it. They didn't want the whole thing, coughing too much, whatever. And they're like, dude, the edibles are like the greatest thing. Travel wise, it's easy to travel with them. So there's just a lot more things like that we found. It's a little bit more of a secure bag for them.
Yeah, definitely, because there's a lot of people that go take a hit, during break at work, and they take an edible in the morning. That kind of like takes them through, almost the whole day or past the whole day.
We have a few people, like actually one in particular that's like a really high up like financial job, and she's like, it's the most stressful fucking job like ever. And so when she discovered us through one of her coworkers, actually, she was like, all right, I'm kind of new to this whole thing. What can I try that will kind of keep me going throughout the day, keep the edge off, all that stuff. So I sold her the gummies, and she's like has a half gummy like with her coffee in the morning.
Love it.
And then at
my favorite combination.
Noon around like 3:00, she takes the other half. She's like, dude, it's changed your life. Her stress has managed like tremendously. She said she's more focused at work, and I'm like, fuck, that's amazing. And like, we don't market the brand as more of like a, like pain management or anything like that, because one, we can't make any claims. But there's a lot of our clients, man. There's one burn victim that has severe burns, and they were trying to give her oxys and all this shit. She didn't want it.
Yep.
So we started giving her cereal bars, and she's like, holy fuck, like this wipes my pain away, and it gives her a quality of life that she didn't have prior. And I'm like, well, holy shit, that's fucking amazing. So
makes her not think about
that's really cool.
Dude, the reason why, I smoke so much weed, I mean, I'm high anxiety,
Sure.
stress and here and there. I mean, weed fucking was like the passageway to relieve some of that. So 10 weeks, I'm kind of over the hurdle, but at this point, sleep's a little tough. I have my dreams back. That's one thing if you quit weed. You get all your fucking dreams. It's crazy. I'm dreaming of like nightmares. Nightmares I had when I was like 8 years old.
Yeah, I know.
And now the nightmares are me. I can drive and I'm losing my car. I'm running out of gas. I can't find my car in the mall parking lot.
You
Which
need to
turns
smoke
into
more.
a fucking desert after fucking.
What the fuck?
It's fucking crazy. So. But, the last like
From
3 weeks,
non-smoking?
I haven't been able to sleep. So I took an edible, and I'm going to fucking share a half of one with somebody of that fucking gummy right now.
Yeah,
Someone
Steve,
cut that fucking thing in half.
Steve, you'll probably sleep incredible, honestly, man.
I'm definitely going to feed back with you next week as far as you're on the show with my sponsors and one of my guests. But, my man, you spoke about like somebody like me. Just getting back into look, Ashley can't open the childproof fucking bag.
Adult proof.
Are you serious? It's so easy. We chose the easiest job.
Tommy got it.
Thank Thank you.
You can bite half.
You just
and I'll
gotta get
take
the other
half.
flap going. You know, you gotta bring the other
I
flap
can
over.
never
and-
do. I literally
Jesus
rage
Christ.
quit and I
You
take
must
my
start,
keys and I
getting the
just
knife
cut it
out,
open.
cutting that thing in
Rip the
half.
whole
Like
thing in
I
half.
can't, like psycho shit
I
happening.
get a
We have this
weapon.
little video. I don't know if I sent it to you guys, but it's like literally like our manufacturer that made those for us is like showing someone how to open it, and they do this like thing with their hands. I've had to send that to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. What do I do?
It's
sorry.
adult proof, not just child proof.
Hey, Mike, you actually explained the whole process of opening that bag to me, but I had to have Tommy do it, and he opened it in like 3 seconds.
I
was
used
like,
my
holy
keys.
shit, my
Yeah.
God.
They're getting the scissors out and shit, cutting this thing in half.
I have 2 pairs of scissors and one of them is like for these packages.
So Mike, a couple of more questions before I let
Yeah,
you
of
get
course.
going, and then we dissect Ashley for a little while at the end of the show. But what's your
Sounds
goal
violent.
for the year, for the end of 2023, and where do you see yourself at the end of 2023 in this whole, the whole business?
Sure. It's wild. We have a bunch of stuff that I can't really talk about just yet that are in the works, that are
Beans.
coming to fruition and very close to locking in. In terms of edibles, man, like when you think about weed, there's so many brands like that come to mind. For me, like Cookies is probably the number one, like that's dominated the market, right? But with edibles, there's companies that make edibles along with vapes, along with all these other things, and we were just like, yeah, we're not really interested in that. We want to just hone in on just edibles and fucking blow this thing through the roof. And we believe that the brand, the branding, all the things are in place to position us to basically dominate this market that's not really being dominated by anybody, you know? And so we've operated the way we have for the last 2 years now, to kind of get us to this point where we have enough trial and error. We've figured out all of our resources, all of our manufacturers, everything's in place. And now it's like, okay, the site's coming together. We're almost there with that. It was like these couple milestones we had to hit. And then once we got that together, it's like, let's fucking go. The numbers that we've done financially with this business, doing fucking Venmo and DMs is impressive enough that like even our attorney's like, dude, we have some of my major brands don't do this shit. Like, this is fucking nuts. So, and we're like, but again, we look at it like we don't. It's hard to sometimes see like because we're in the trenches all the fucking time, man. So it's like I don't see like the glorification of like how much we're doing monthly or whatever. And we have and again mentally, I'm like, I look at stuff in such a different way. Where we're just like, okay, cool, next goal. All right, we hit that.
Yeah.
Great. Next one. I'm never satisfied.
Yeah.
I'm so fortunate and humble and grateful. But it's like I have this constant burn internally. That's like we're just driven to keep going and get ahead and make more opportunities. But we know that right now, we believe that we're a 7+ figure business, no question. And so that's our goal for the end of the year. And I'm very confident we're going to hit that. And we're just in a really cool position to kind of keep growing and expanding. And for me and Kel, our number one thing has always been freedom. It's like we have to be creatively free to do whatever the fuck we want. I don't want some asshole in a seat pulling my strings going, hey, I don't know about that packaging. And I'll be like, hey, I don't know about your fucking thing.
Take an edible, buddy. Take a fucking edible.
Well, in the company that I'm in, we have to deal with a lot of investors, and it sucks. It's that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
but I mean, right now, like I said, right now we've got some pretty lofty goals that we know we can hit. It's just a matter of like, we had a few fine-tuned things we had to get in place. Those now are in place, and it's like, let's just start to really penetrate the market, get more collaborations with other, artists and things of the sort that we're working on. But I think we're in a, really good position brand-wise, branding-wise. And, to your point with the packaging too, it's like, I've always said this, man, if someone sees our stuff in a store or whatever, if they don't buy us, I'm okay with that. I just want to be the most memorable. That's always been my fucking goal. So it's like, take a picture, tell your friends, and like, see the reaction. That's all we've always said. But if they do give us a shot and they try it without fail, I'm like, I don't know. Honestly, it's funny because people ask me all the time, like, who's your competition? And I'm like, I don't fucking follow any other brands. I have no idea. I don't give a shit.
don't even worry about that.
I'm not cocky about it. I'm just like, we're so focused on what we want to do. and delivering this really great experience for our customers. That's all we care about, man. You know, because trust me, there's a lot. I'm sure you guys have had it too, but there's a lot of people that just don't give a fuck. Like no one cares anymore, and it's really fucked up. So for us, even during the pandemic, man, when we would ship stuff through the post office, it would be like overnight or like 2-day shipping, and then it would be like 2 weeks before it got there.
Yeah.
And I was losing sleep every night, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. We're shipping it again through UPS because that was the only reliable source for us, and that's why we went exclusive with them. But we were shipping out 2 orders because of the shipping delays.
Yeah,
we were like, no one else is fucking doing that. And I was like, well, if we took an L, I don't give a shit because we built this loyal following because everyone said, you guys are the only fucking people that I've ever dealt with that actually sent me 2 products, never wanted them back, but just to make sure they were taken care of.
Fucking amazing, man.
That's a big thing for us, for sure.
Well, last question for me. I mean, I never stop. And then you guys can ask a question. We'll let them go. But I already forgot my goddamn question. All right, so...
It's working.
All right, so
yes.
it's a touchy subject to ship weed or anything, to a customer. I mean, it's legal basically everywhere in the United States right now.
Yeah.
But what could you say to a consumer that actually wanted to buy your product and not have to worry about anything happening with it or any legal problems happening ordering your product off you? And then once your website's there, I'm sure they're going to be able to order it there. So
for sure, yeah, man. I mean, the biggest thing is just one, where we're shipping it to. As long as we know it's a legal state to ship to, then that already blocks us off from that. As all our products, we have to have everything lab tested always. So as long as we come in under 0.3% Delta 9 THC, then we're free to ship across state lines as long as the state that we're shipping to acknowledges that Delta 8 isn't a Schedule 1. Some places have issued it as Schedule 1, which is fucking absurd to me. But that's just dumb bureaucrats that are have their head up their ass, don't want things to move the needle forward. However, but people that are nervous about it, that's kind of the first thing we talk about. Like, where are you from? How old are you? You have to be 21 plus to get to order. And then if they're in a legal state, that's it. I mean, that's really it. We always ship discreet packaging. At one point, we want to do these like crazy designs with like our packaging boxes and shit. And we were like, no, fuck that. Because I was like, when we start to get more popular, people will see like a purple fucking UFO box or something.
Fucking open it right up. Open it up. Fucking. I work at the post office. That shit will never make it to the fucking door.
Why are all these boxes in Steve's car?
Yeah. I put it on the doorstep. It just happened to walk away on its own,
Yeah, man. No, but honestly, so we ship everything discreetly. It's super. There's nothing sketch about it. It's really simple.
Just like those pills you get.
And most of all, as you guys have seen, all of our stuff outside of the gummies are all vacuum sealed, so there's no like smells or anything.
Yeah, and also you when I had some shipped to me, it was here within a couple of days. And you said the shelf life not only is long because they're vacuum sealed, you put it in the refrigerator, it can last up to like almost a year, correct?
Yeah, so if it's unopened, it's about a year. If it is opened and it's kept in the fridge, I mean, the shelf life, I would say around 6 weeks, 8 weeks, probably max at that point.
That's really
just
good.
because you have the butter and shit, but it's like, because all the, the cereal, especially that we use and stuff, it's all chemicals, man. Pretty much at that point. So you're basically just eating like a fucking science experiment at that point.
Yeah, Tommy's would last about 6 hours on a shelf. That's about it. He'll be eating them watching a movie like popcorn. It's fucking. I love you, by the way.
I'll be sweating, but.
All right, Mike. Before I'll ask. I'll let you give you a shout out, sponsors, not sponsors, but associates and. Your social media, but Tommy's eyes are closing over there. Tommy, you want to ask him anything? Yeah, Ashley, he's a good friend of yours.
Mike, you were talking earlier about how you like to smoke, so that's like you still love smoking weed and stuff like that, and medicating and being that, because a lot of people like us who get a little jaded from the industry. They're like, oh, I don't want to smoke anymore. I don't like weed. You smoke, So
he's talking about me.
It's funny because the misconception I think from a lot of our audience is that like I post memes and get high and eat edibles like all day long, and it's just not the case.
Yeah, no.
I'm a very high output individual, so for me it's like I'm an evening consumer. I'm not I'm not functional on cannabis on any level.
Sure.
I'm like a giggly fucking idiot that sits in the corner. It's like, you know.
It's the funnest kind.
It all depends on the job I have to do. If I'm up on a fucking ladder, no way. But if I'm at a computer, that's fine.
Can I just say that on my job at the post office, I smoked like 6 times a day during the day. I would go out. I would go, in between breaks, and I can't. I've been there 30 years. You're not fucking doing anything. But yeah, I would go out there, and not that I'm smoking a blunt every time I go out there. I take 2 or 3 hits, but that was just getting too much for me. But the edibles, if I could take like one of those peanut butter cups, a 15 milligram, because I was taking a 5 or a couple of 5s, and Tommy, they would get me them. And they would last me. Like sometimes they would hit me in different ways. Like one time I went to a bar, I had a couple of drinks. I said, did I get Mickey'd? Like what the fuck is going on? I smoke weed like a fucking chimney, and right now I feel like I fucking just got Mickey'd.
Well, it depends on what you ate. Depends on how much you're drinking all day, how much water, all the things,
It's funny, man, because people. That's why I always tell people you can always eat more, but you can't eat less, right? And so. I know that how great of an experience that people can have with our stuff. So that's why I'm always like, don't be a hero. Just fucking no one's impressed if you fucking eat. I mean, even when that girl ate the 1,000 milligrams, I was like, I mean, it's impressive, but I'm not impressed by it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, did you have a good time?
Yeah, did you enjoy yourself?
Have a bite. You like the taste, and you can have a great experience with it. But yeah, but then other times, I mean, fuck, I've had regular D9. The Delta 9 edibles, and I was literally seeing fucking hell unraveling for hours. I'm like, this is the worst fucking experience.
Well, the term I use a lot is uncomfortable. You don't want to get uncomfortable.
Well,
totally.
You got to buy a bunch of your stuff to test it out. I mean, you got to get that happy. I'm happy right now. I took that 15 and that half of 25. I don't know what that hit me yet, but dude, I actually feel better than I felt in 10 weeks. I have to say, because I love I love the weed effect.
Yeah.
And right now I feel high as fuck for some reason.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. I love it.
Ashley, anything you want to ask him or say anything to him, or you want to order something from him from fucking whatever?
I already have a drug.
I already ordered stuff. Hi, Mike.
Wait, did Max just play Boston?
He did.
I didn't. Did you go?
No,
I didn't go.
We wanted to.
Listen, I'm gonna say I had a couple of people pass away that week, and I had so much going on.
Yeah, busy time.
Yeah, it was busy. I was like, fucking, I wanted to go, and my daughter couldn't make it because she went to Worcester the following night to see fucking some band cutting people's heads off or something. I don't know.
Palladium shows.
Yeah, definitely Palladium. But what was the goddamn question?
I don't know if there was one.
Yeah, I'm gonna see Max the end of the month.
Max.
Playing the Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Oh,
nice.
good.
Yeah,
Nice, my man.
I haven't seen him since fucking 2019 or
Ugh.
something.
No shit.
Well,
Yeah, it's been a
COVID
while.
really because they've both been traveling.
And
since the dawn of time.
Has he been working with you in between? Like you said, he did some things for you. But has that been in this span, or was this previous that Max has done some shit for you?
As far as art and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he did some stuff early on for Purple Alien with us. But yeah, I mean, then it's just everything. He was touring again, whatever. So we just couldn't bog him down with all our bullshit, So, but no, man, I'm just glad that they're back out doing it with everything that happened with Trev and fucking
Tragic.
It's the pandemic, then fucking Trev, and it was a lot. And I felt so bad that I couldn't be there for, you know what I mean, physically with them, because it's Mac's my best friend, and I've known him since I was 19, I think. So it's crazy. But yeah, no, I mean, he's the best dude on the fucking planet and the best bass player on the fucking planet.
Excellent, my man.
And bass players are hard to come by.
Yeah, bass players, they are. It's bass players, definitely.
I just remember watching him play for the first, we went down to his old space in Framingham that we used to jam at.
Nice.
And he plugged in, and he just like it was like like whatever, and I was just like,
fuck yeah.
I remember sitting there with my fucking mouth dropped, and I always told him, I'm like, I felt like what it must have been the first time watching Cliff Burton Metallica play or something.
Nice.
I was like, holy fuck, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing was how Max plays with his left hand, like he doesn't use he uses his fingers differently. Like he'll do stuff with that you could use your ring or pinky with, but he reaches with his middle, and I was always like, "What are you doing, dude?" Like, but he does it, and I've never seen anyone do that. I'm like, just fucking use your other hand, or whatever. And I'm always like classically trained style, so everything I've ever done is always like within arm's reach. And I watch him, and he'd be like, oh,
Fucking yeah, making it harder than it needs to be, but he's just good at it, man. Yeah.
Like a jackhammer.
Fucking
Style points.
Well, I mean, it looks like they're firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they just came through the area. I think they were just in Canada, and they had a great show there. And I mean, life of what
Rockstar.
heavy metal band, or speed metal band. But it looks like the new guy they got singing for him. He's a hell of a guy. I see him on their Instagram. He's doing fucking shit all the time. So he loves the spotlight as far as the social media. So that's gonna propel them and make them carry on.
Well, it's funny. Max calls me when there's like life decisions that are going on. He'll be like, dude, this is what's happening, whatever. And I remember he called me about Brian taking over to sing. It's like, and it's funny because I was like, that's the only thing that makes sense for you guys. I was like, you can't have some asshole fucking that's just trying to be like Trevor. Like, it's not gonna work. And it's such a delicate situation. And I remember thinking like, wow, like if Brian steps in, this is actually awesome for you guys. This would be perfect. And then getting Knight back in the band to take over his spot, I was like, fuck, this is gonna be really sick. And I'm so glad that they've stuck it out to do it. And I think it's a really cool fucking thing.
A bunch of people must be showing up to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, last thing from me before I let you give your social media, drop the website when that comes out. Anything else you want to say before I go? But you're big on the rock bands. Do you guys ever go to like functions like that? You said you wanted to do your own thing down the line, have a drinking function. But do you guys ever go to like concerts, fights, anywhere that it's legal to sell and set up shop there and sell to those people?
Yeah. So this is kind of like part of like the growth for us is like we want to be able to start going out to like big festivals and be sponsors of those festivals and shit. It's funny you mentioned about fighting. So last year, we actually, a friend of ours, Dom D'Agostino, had he started fighting. He's only 18, but he had an amateur fight. Won the first. He fought a fucking 34-year-old monster.
Yeah, that happens a lot in the amateurs. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Right? And I remember watching, and he fucking tapped him out in like a minute and a half. It was crazy. But we ended up making him a T-shirt design in a cartoon character for his first fight. It actually came out fucking sick. And we've kind of looked at that a lot, like the wrestling world or the UFC world. We just went to a skateboarding event in Chicago called SLS, and I was like telling Kelly, I'm like, we fucking have to, like, we need to figure out how to sponsor this fucking thing.
Hey, Mike, I'm gonna say you're gonna be on tour again, my man. Yeah. This is like a fucking tour for you, bro.
But here's the difference: being on tour this way, and like we have more, like in the sense of like, listen, being in the band, everyone thinks it's like the greatest fucking thing, which it is essentially because you're living out your dream and all that shit. But there's basically 18 hours a day that suck. And then you go on stage and rock for a fucking hour. And you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. And you're like, oh, fuck, now I'm breaking down.
Back to ramen noodles.
Where at least with this is like, wow, this is actually like again, if I went back on the road, first off, I'm a fucking total diva now at this point in my life. I'm stay in good hotels, got chore in a bottle. Like, I'm not going to fucking do how I did it. And we'd be in a much, much different situation than any of the touring I ever did. So it would be a lot of fun at this point.
Excellent, my man. Dude, it's fucking been a pleasure, bro. Fucking talking to you, my man. Yeah, definitely. We'll have you on again.
Definitely.
Down the line once you launch the website and stuff like that. But man, I hope everyone kind of like jumps onto the the edible craze as far as helping them out in their problems, or just wanting to get out of smoking weed all the time religiously like I did, and get to edibles and maybe take a hit of weed every so often. You know what I mean?
Yep. Now let me ask you guys in terms of like, so how does it work with you? So you have ambassador of a fighter. So you guys like manage fighters, or what's that?
There's a side of I've been doing this like 8 years. I've got kicked off Facebook like fucking 700 times. Fucking.
Are you on Rumble?
What's that?
Are you on Rumble?
No, I'm like actually I'm starting to like branch off. I'm Twitch now, and I have a big TikTok page, but I'm kind of on my own with the social media, and I handle a lot of that for New England MMA. We have 5 other guys that write articles, and
cool.
Go to shows and do play-by-plays for them. But I'm really the kind of only podcast that interviews fighters. We have another kid that's going to start to do it, but I handle most of the social media, like posting, our articles, our interviews, and then cutting them up and doing that other shit. But the management side, I'm probably 1% of.
Okay.
There's 10 to 11 fighters we manage. There's a couple of them ready to make that next step to maybe the UFC. Get on the Contender Series, or get a call up to fight, on short notice. We got a couple of those guys. We got a lot of new pros, a couple of amateurs, and we got the middle line of the pros that are either going to make that next level, or they're just happy fighting locally and regionally, and they just fight. They fight like every 2 months, but they fight tough guys, and they don't always win, but they always put on a fucking great fight.
That's awesome.
So our motto is to give our fighters the toughest fights possible, because down the line, if they want to be fighting the best of the best, they're going to have to take that journey to work and fight someone that, may beat you. So that's kind of that, but I'm 1% of it.
Yep.
Because I got too much going on there. But I got 2 other guys that do all the managing, the sponsors, the social media, the matching the fights, the talking to pay scale and all that other stuff. So I got my hands in everything, Mike. I'm fucking like everywhere.
This guy's the ambassador.
I was gonna say too, like if there's fighters that like that's one of the things we always look at. Like there's a rapper from Boston named Bully. Dude is fucking nasty. His story is crazy, but his manager and I have been talking a bunch, and I think we're gonna do a collab with him. But like, that's for us. It's super fun to dive into that, in different worlds and shit for collabs. But in terms of sponsorships or anything like that, if there's fighters that you guys are like, man, like these guys might be a really, good person to advocate for what you're doing or whatever. Especially with the clothing line now, because we have these great illustrators that we send ideas to and make all these great designs. And, we could do one-off collabs of like, hey, cool, if we're going to do something with a fighter, plus it's a way for them to make more money, et cetera, et cetera. So, there's a lot of things that we can offer too. But
it's a great idea.
If there's anyone that you guys are like, dude, check out this dude or whatever, we're always down to talk.
Yeah, like I said, Mike, I've been doing it for 7 years. I have a good friendship, great friendship, close friendships with a lot of the fighters, young, old, because I've been here, and there's a lot of kids that were like 12 years old. Now they're making their pro debut on their like seventh amateur fight, and I've been the guy that interviewed them the first time in their career. So I have a lot of guys that not necessarily I'm tied to any financially or sponsors, but I would definitely like they smoke constantly.
Oh yeah.
We come to this podcast like I have 2 or 3 we're chimneys outside, but they don't want anyone to know that. They get a vape pen under the fucking desk. They fucking take it in every fucking so often. But man, if I'll get you in touch with a few. You can dialogue with them. I'll stay out of it from that point. You know what I mean? Just because there's a lot of dudes here that I've seen mostly the 5 milligram kind of edibles. I mean, you have a fucking scale up to fucking 15 to 1,000.
Yeah.
And thing about fighters, there's a lot of them that or have stress, have like anxiety, have like no homes, came from broken stuff, and you know they're smoking a lot of weed, and instead of going to something stronger that. You know,
Drinking a
weed's
lot.
not doing it for me. Hey, hey, eat this $1,000 fucking milligram bar, man. That'll fucking bring you down there, you know?
Well, I heard.
You know, it's funny, dude. We have some athletes and shit that take our stuff, and they're like, you know, same thing. Their recovery is 1,000 times better than it was, and you know, just to, I mean, as you guys know, like, what's the number one thing you need to do as a fighter? Is like you need to manage stress. You need to manage all the outside bullshit when you lead up to a fight. And you know, I mean, I watched Dom preparing for his fight for the first 3 fights, and it was like, you know, you're just in a different zone, especially those couple of weeks leading up to it, cut and all that shit. It's like, you know, and you have to be in a different mental state. And you know, a lot of the people that we've given our edibles to, or that, you know, or athletes, it's like prepping for anything. It's like just keeping things at bay and keeping your stress down and keeping your anxieties down. Like that's the greatest fucking thing you could do. And I'm like, fuck, if we can be a you know, a little part of that for anybody, I'm all for it, you know.
Well, definitely you're taking a great route, man. Getting, you know, you talked about rappers, the music industry, getting out there. You know, you're going to be setting up shop in a few places. Going back on tour, take your guitar with you. You never know who you're right. They might have you on stage someday. You fucking just walk up there. You know what I mean?
Sing some campfire.
Yeah, exactly, man. You race. You can go to fucking NASCAR. Or you can go fucking everywhere. Now. The golf course. I mean, them guys are fucking. They need to be chill. I mean, you know what I mean?
Oh, dude. Imagine that. Actually, imagine seeing a fucking fail video of someone popping like fucking NASCAR.
It's fucking. You know, you got instead of the fucking caddy, you got a guy carrying around fucking packs of fucking edibles and shit like that. You know what I mean? Fucking
walking the wrong way and shit.
All right, Mike, man. Anything last you want to say? You know, about the website, your social media, where we can get in touch. You know, last sales pitch here before I let you get going, man. It's been a pleasure.
Well, one, I appreciate you guys having me on. It was super awesome, and thanks for getting us in touch and everything. It's great. Yeah, man, just anyone that, you know, is interested in anything right now, the best place to be is, or hit me up, is on Instagram. So, Purrple Alien with 2 R's, .alien. You have to type the whole name because we're fucking shadow banned and Instagram sucks. But yeah, that's the best place to find us right now. Instagram's been our main thing, and then, you know, that's all my main updates and shit. I usually go through there. TikTok, we've got sort of decent following, I guess, but Instagram's our main kind of spot. We're gonna start going on Rumble pretty quick here, I think, in the next week or so.
What is Rumble? You were saying this earlier.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I want you to send me a private message what that is. All right.
Yeah, man, it's great. Like, there's a lot of people that just are fucking over the censorship and just don't want to deal with fucking all this like dumb shit. It doesn't even make any sense. Like Russell Brand, all these people are now bringing their shows.
You know what? I did hear about that. I did hear Russell Brand doing it on Rumble. So this is what you're talking about. I get it.
Well, initially I was like, I didn't know much about it, and then this past weekend, at the Street League skate competition we went to in Chicago, Rumble sponsored it, and actually they were the ones that did the live feed and all that shit. It was fucking amazing. It was so good, and I was like, man, I didn't realize Rumble like is this good. So
must be blowing up.
Start doing a lot more shit, especially for your podcast and stuff, dude. Yeah, you guys do really well.
We should do that. We should check that out.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I could be here all fucking night.
We're having a great time for sure.
You know what I mean?
So let's talk about strains that we love.
All right, well, no, let's go away too far. We'll have him. We'll have him on the show. You know, in like 2 or 3 weeks after the website. Fucking, you can. You know, we'll dig deeper into the business and who's involved and give them some fucking love and shit like that.
We'll dive deep into these products and report back.
Well, I like right now I'm happy as fuck. So yeah, I'm good right now, man. But Mike, anything, you know, social media, I have your Instagram up here now, but anything else you want to throw out there? And, you know, as far as the website, if that's going to be a .com, whatever we need to know about that.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's going to be our main vehicle now for purchasing for people. So that's really exciting for us. And plus now we're going to be getting into more like, you know, like it's funny because everything's been really front facing for me. Cause I've always had like a personal, like anytime anyone's ever DM'd us, it's like, you know, I've always interacted with them. So now it's a little bit of a almost like retraining our audience now because everyone always DMs me, but it's gonna be like, yeah, here's the site, go order there. So we're trying to keep it as like sort of, you know, as personalized as possible. There's actually this app, or it's a plugin for the site called Tolstoy, that has like a little bubble, and I think we're gonna do all these little videos, so it could be like, press on here and be like, hey, what's up, man? If this is your first time here, like me talking about shit.
Okay.
That way, it's like they can already get a feel for like the vibe of like who I am, who we are as a brand, and all that shit. And it kind of keeps it a little bit more personalized. So the site, we're trying to keep it like, fun, interactive, super easy to buy. That's the other thing too. I can't stand fucking sites that make it challenging.
Yeah, terrible.
And
Just
then
take
we're
my
gonna
money.
start really hammering like the SEO side of things and SMS, and finding new unique ways to market, because there's now which is so crazy. We can't really. It's like I have to do everything's like so cryptic on social because TikTok just fucking gave us a 30-day ban the other day. And I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. Instagram's constantly shadow banning us. Facebook is, I think I'm on like a 2-week fucking suspension. I don't know. It's so stupid. But all that to say, what I'm finding is like there's actually a loophole even with marketing that you're able to do paid ads for cannabis brands now. And I'm seeing them on YouTube. I'm seeing them on fucking different sites. I'm like, wow, what the fuck? When did this happen? So that's a whole other new realm for us because we haven't explored that yet. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting, man. But yeah, the site's gonna be up hopefully here in about 2 to maximum 3 weeks. But and then once it's live, I'll let you guys all know for sure.
Definitely, man. I'll have you on again on the live one, or we could do like a one-on-one pre-recorded, go in depth about that shit. But whatever, man. But it's been a pleasure, bro, meeting you. Thank you, Ashley, for fucking hooking me up with him. And dude, I still have. I still have the marshmallow things here that I have not opened.
You haven't
yet.
even opened it yet. He's scared.
This is for a special occasion, and now that I know exactly what's going on, I got to get the little fucking
the chocolate
little heaven inside
exactly.
and chop it up and stuff like that.
Good call. That's a good secret. I like that. That's
I
extra.
have to say, last thing, like I haven't smoked or taken THC in 10 weeks.
Yeah.
I took one of those 15 milligrams. I took a half of the 25, so that's what 12 and a half.
Yeah.
So what's that? 27 and a half. I'm good at math, man. I feel fucking like good. I'm high as a fuck right now, but I feel
nailed it.
Dude, people ask me how to describe the experience, and I've come up with one scenario that I think seems to be universal, depending on how mild or high you get. I tell everyone it's kind of like laying in the ocean, and the current sort of pulls you in and out. And you get these little waves that come. One might be a little bigger, and then you kind of dip down a little bit, but you're kind of just floating, and you kind of get in this really nice space. And then, of course, if you have like half a fucking Fruity Pebble bar, you're gonna be like fucking wave crash.
Choppy water. That water's gonna be choppy.
And you put plenty of videos on your Instagram about fucking taking too many or not, or just taking just enough. How you feel, man?
Right, totally.
You do a great job with that, my man. And congratulations for everything. And man, we're gonna become good friends, man. We're the samplers of the future.
Already
here,
best
man.
friends.
Every time we have new stuff, I'm like, guys, I'm sending you a special box.
Oh, fucking awesome, my man. Well, great pleasure meeting you, my man. And we're gonna let you go, and we're gonna spaz out for about 10 minutes and get the fuck out of here.
Awesome, dude. Well, guys, I appreciate you all so much, and we'll talk soon.
All right,
shit,
definitely,
Mike.
man. Have a good night.
All right. See you guys.
That's fucking great.
Oh yeah.
I'm fucking high as a fucking.
That's good. We're gonna smoke weed after this too.
Perfect. Oh,
I tell you he was gonna say that.
Me?
You're gonna take some fucking hits.
Redial.
Oh yeah, of course.
Who the fuck is that?
Back.
I'm not redialing. I want out of here.
Oh, is it?
Redial.
Shut up, lady.
No, yeah.
All right.
Just close that one. Or
Is that right there?
I don't know what that is.
No, what's
it's
that say?
too far for me.
Nah, I'm not shutting the whole fucking thing. I just put that down because I'm not using it. What do I need? All right. We don't need anything anyway because the screen is just us right now. So fuck
There
everywhere.
we are.
Actually, he's cool as
Yep, that was
fuck,
cool.
man. God, he's been everywhere. Fucking, he gets, he
Smart.
masters shit,
Yep,
and they
seems
just
smart.
like, time to move on. I
Yeah.
fucking got to go
Bored.
create a fucking
Yeah.
orb or something.
He's a wizard.
Yep.
Exactly.
You gotta
he's
be
not.
one.
He's an eight.
He's a wizard.
There's people like that.
Yep. Yep. He's doing.
You know,
he's
when
doing the
the
right
sun
thing.
shines in a certain spot.
You could
It
tell.
shows some
Yeah.
inner.
Like
alien.
like that Roddy Piper movie with the
Fuck.
glasses.
Oh,
They
the
live.
good-
I got you the thing. Remember I got you the thing? The
Yes,
fucking thing?
it's back there somewhere.
right
Right there.
there.
It's fucking to
yeah,
Ashley's
do it in the
right.
corner.
If you look over the right shoulder, that thing.
Little Funko Pop. Yep.
Fucking awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now I feel
Feeling it.
I feel great.
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I feel.
You know that movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought I would feel a little paranoid because I haven't taken it. I feel fucking like.
I think that's the Delta 8 thing. I think that's that. Like, there's not a lot of paranoia with that. It's a little more controlled.
Did I ask him what Delta 8 was? That's the.
No, we should
That's the
have.
infusion.
That would have been a good
That'll
one.
be next, but that's I
Yeah,
would
'cause
imagine
I'm
that's
not
the
even too-
product he puts into it.
Yeah, it's a
his
different
edibles.
type of. It's a different sort of extract because of what, like the shit that I do. It's just straight up weed plant, fucking blasted CO2, THC, straight up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and Delta 8, like there's different.
Yeah.
Even though that's made for edibles, there's fucking the vape.
People
whatever
smoke
that's made
it.
out of fucking. There's that Simpson oil or something.
Rick
like,
Simpson oil. That's
yes,
THC.
That's a whole nother
Yeah.
fucking.
RSO. That's just
Yeah.
that's like a concentrate. That's THC. That
Someone
shit'll
made
fuck
me
you up.
brownies with
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, that'll ring your bell.
And he was gonna say, "Hey, this isn't just like cooking fucking pot butter.
No,
this is."
that's what they give
Have
to
you
like,
ever heard of this? I'm like, no. It sounds like a fucking,
for, like, medical
Yeah,
like
that's
a-
what they give to, like,
an oil
terminal
you put on
cancer
to go to the
patients
beach
and shit.
or something.
Yeah.
I don't
It
know.
will, yeah.
Yeah. You'll forget
But-
about all your pains.
Yeah, I got. It was good.
Yeah.
but it's hard to make. It was hard to make.
Yeah, you gotta like soak it in alcohol, then distill it.
Yeah, and then
exactly.
fucking light the house on fire and shit like that.
Fucking
But
explosions.
The cool thing about him, they get the product in a partner and they fucking they make magic with it because, like you said, it takes 20.
I would love to know more
20
of the
times
process.
or more to like get. Like when the meatloaf I want to make, he's like, "Well, how many
God,
portions to
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah, that's
I
a
would
lot.
think 25 to 30 would be a good. It's dinner. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are gonna have. People are gonna
By
have
the end of the
wine.
meal.
They're gonna drink a wine. So is it?
Yeah, they're gonna go.
You know,
Well, they do
and-
those. What we were talking about, kind of what with him was like, they have those like 3-course, all infused fucking dinners and
Yeah,
shit.
even
you
if
know?
it's
Yeah.
like a dessert,
Yep.
he makes at the end. You
That
know
would
what I
be
mean?
cool
And
to
that's
do, like, drink something in the entree and then the dessert, or like have some sort of weird
Or
appetizer.
everything,
Yeah.
a little bit of weed in
It's
everything.
like something somewhere.
Because
yeah.
butter, you put it in butter, and you can put butter on fucking everything.
Everything,
So that makes
Yeah.
that easy.
fucking awesome.
What a day! What a world to be alive
Oh
in,
my
huh?
god, I'm
oh
so
my god.
happy right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I am so happy right now. And I drank 3 beers.
Nice.
He said that was that kind
Yeah,
of
right.
determined.
Yeah, I didn't want to chime in on that. I didn't want to chime in on that one. Yeah, right. Oh, let me put this beer down.
was
Then,
like,
you know what I'm saying? I'll put it back. in.
Yeah, no, this didn't help at all.
Right. Like I don't even know what it's like to not drink a beer and smoke at the same time. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
my god. No, I'm not smoking tonight.
no.
No, I might next
Okay.
time, but
Yeah, no pressure.
yeah, I feel good.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
I was gonna
don't
say
need
like,
to,
the floodgates are open.
take
Like
it-
why
I
not?
don't need to smell like smoke right now.
No doubt. Say less. Say less.
Anything you want to leave off for, Tom?
Nah. Chilling. Good time.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anything you want to leave off with, Ash? Might make you your first smoker in a few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
multiple weeks
Oh.
down the
Weed
line.
smoker.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, I seen her with the pads on, and where'd you get your pad work now? Is it at
I'm
Santos or somewhere else?
I'm with Tyson at Santos. George Vega. Jorge.
All right, so it's
There's
at
like
Santos,
1,000
but
Georges
yeah,
there
it's
now.
at
I have to,
Santos.
like-
That looks
yeah.
great on Instagram. Where is that now?
That's like in the Hope Artists Village on Main Street in Pawtucket. It's like in there. There's 1,000 things in there.
Yeah, it's like
That's it.
what do you mean, 1,000 things? Like a bunch of
Like
stores.
businesses.
Yeah,
entire
everywhere,
businesses inside,
everywhere.
But he has one of the rooms.
I haven't been there.
Is
but
that
it
what
looks,
like the Met?
It looks great.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Right.
you go like right by it.
Yeah.
It looks
yeah.
it looks great on Instagram. Like
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's just like a
Just shows
floor
that.
and mats, and then you go, and it's great.
Perfect.
Excellent.
That's all you need is a mat.
Well, what was I going to say? Oh, next week we are back here. We have Mike Polvier,
Oh, nice.
the owner of Cage Titans, coming on.
Coming in or calling in?
No, he's not coming in.
No,
He's
yeah, right.
he's
It's
got
always
too much
calling,
shit.
you know what I mean?
Fucking 700 things going on.
Yep. So that'll be the 10th.
But
right?
he's going to call in. We're going to talk all about Cage Titans
Nice.
on May 27th. Huge fights.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be interviewing like a few more fighters, right? before then, the 27th.
I don't know if
Next week is next weekend, not this weekend, the following weekend is Cage Titans and Neff. And I got to have a couple of interviews already scheduled with a few of those guys. So
This weekend coming up is
Cinco de Mayo.
yeah, but also this weekend Leon Davis. What is that fighting?
Oh,
Mohegan Sun.
reality fighting.
Yep. Yeah, reality.
At Mohegan Sun.
Yep, grappling event. So
yeah, so there's a bunch of grappling there, and there's a few MMA fights, more grappling than MMA, and they do great there. It's fucking-
Mohegan Sun. That place is a party.
Mohegan Sun.
Yep.
And then after that, following week, Neff 52 and CES 73.
You're good with the numbers, man. Yeah, you're good with these numbers.
Goddamn shit. Because this is all I fucking do, dude.
Truth.
With that said,
Let's do it.
thank you so much,
Awesome.
Mike Casavant, Purple Alien. These are the 100 milligrams that I'm fucking stuttering.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued about those.
Those are
We'll be
wonderful.
taking
Yeah.
them. I'll take half of one
Oh my god.
in here sometime.
If you want.
When we have Mike on again,
Yeah.
when he launches his podcast,
Website.
fucking website. That's coming next with him, I bet.
Yeah, that's
I'll
good.
co-host.
I'll
with
go
him.
there. Yeah.
Fucking great.
He could
Let's
do a
it.
podcast.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
does one every night on fucking Instagram.
Yeah,
with his
yeah,
fucking
right.
videos.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I'm snorting now. All right. Actually,
Things are getting wild.
we'll have you on again
Perfect.
when we have Mike on. It's been a blast, people.
Always.
I can throw this fucking goddamn THC test away now. But
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I went 10 and a half weeks.
Did you end up taking one of those at all?
No, I didn't. I just didn't want to piss in a cup.
I know,
and
right?
fucking
That's fair.
On camera, like a
disgusting.
couple
No.
piss.
Oh, look, let's check it out now. We're live. No, I didn't want it.
I thought that was weird too.
Yeah, I thought it. I'm all done with that.
Here's my actual piss.
Just honestly, I went 10 and a half weeks without taking any THC. So
We'll trust the test would come back.
So I'll go
negative.
another week before I take some more. But how many gummies are left in that thing?
Oh my
A good
god.
amount.
Just feel. Oh, 3?
Like 5.
Oh,
5 to 10.
all right.
How many? 10 coming in to begin
Yeah,
with?
I think I'll do this every podcast.
Yeah,
I'll
bud.
fucking take a. Yeah. All right. It hit me way at the end. I love it. Good. All right. With that said, all our social media is up there. We're out of here. Fuck you, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.